the foreign scene, where the United States and Russian officials opened talks in Saudi Arabia today on a partial ceasefire in the Ukraine war, a day after delegates from Washington and Kyiv had their own discussions. US President Donald Trump is pushing for a rapid end to the three-year war and hopes talks in Riyadh could pave the way for a breakthrough. Both sides have proposed different plans for temporary ceasefires, but cross-border attacks have continued unabated, originally planned to take place simultaneously to enable shuttle diplomacy, with the United States going back and forth between the delegations. The talks are now taking place one after the other. The meeting between the Ukrainian team led by Defense Minister Rustem Umerov and the Americans finished up late on Sunday night. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff voiced optimism that any agreement struck would pave the way for a full-on ceasefire. The pump price of petrol in neighboring Niger Republic have started reducing following the supply of the commodity from Nigeria. Multiple residents in border communities and insider security sources familiar with the development confirmed that hundreds of petrol tankers have started making their way from Nigeria to Niger Republic. You will recall that last week there were reports that Niger Republic had turned to Nigeria for help after being hit by fuel shortage. The West African country reached out to Nigeria despite months of diplomatic tensions and hostile rhetoric. The report stated that a delegation of senior officials of the military junta traveled down to Abuja to meet federal government representatives. At the end of the deliberation, 300 trucks of PMS were reportedly approved for delivery to the country. A senior government official had told journalists that the deal was approved with the hope of using it as a strategic bargaining tool in ongoing negotiations with Niger. Back home in Nigeria, following the Dangote Petroleum Refinery suspension of the sale of petroleum products in Naira, some filling stations have started stockpiling petrol. The retailers are storing the product to ensure they have enough to sell at a higher rate, having projected that the price of petrol would go up soon as a result of the failure of the federal government to continue the sale of crude oil to Dangote Refinery in the local currency. However, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, warned these retailers to stop buying panic as they may incur heavy losses. Last week, the Dangote Refinery announced it had temporarily halted the sale of petrol products in Naira as the Naira for crude talks between it and the NNPCL appeared to have failed. The 650,000 barrels per day capacity refinery lamented that there was a mismatch between its sales proceeds and its crude oil purchase obligations, which it said are currently denominated in US dollars. Immediately after the announcement, the cost of loading petrol at private depots in Lagos jumped to about 900 naira per litre. It was less than 850 naira per litre before the announcement. In an interview with journalists on Sunday, National Publicity Secretary of IPMAN, Chinedu Ukadike, said depot owners were profiteering even as some owners of filling stations were in a rush to stockpile fuel. Suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has refuted allegations linking him with militant groups, dismissing recent social media posts and videos as fake and malicious attempts to incite tension in the state. In a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary, Nelson Chukwudi, Fubara condemned the circulation of fabricated videos purportedly depicting explosions at oil and gas facilities in the state. The statement clarified that affected communities have debunked the claims, assuring that all critical infrastructure remains intact and operational. The statement noted that for the avoidance of doubt, Governor Sim Fubara has no link to any militant groups. It does not contemplate any such association and has no reason to encourage any criminal element to undertake actions that threaten peace, security, or the economy. Governor Fubara restated his commitment to maintaining peace in Rivers State, emphasizing that governance and development can only thrive in a stable environment. He also warned against attempts to exploit the state's ongoing political crisis for ulterior motives. Fubara further cautioned bloggers and social media influencers against spreading false information, stating that their actions could escalate tensions and disrupt stability. He urged security agencies to investigate and take decisive action against those responsible for spreading misinformation. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi has accused the President Bola Tinubu of disobeying the Supreme Court, barring the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from releasing allocation to rivers until a properly constituted House of Assembly appropriates the funds. Immediately after the controversial suspension of Governor Sim Fubara for 6 months and the appointment of Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as the sole administrator in Rivers, the federal government said releasing the state withheld allocations to the military administrator would be in order. Obi has accused the CBN and the AGF of colluding with the president to disobey the court order, insisting that the decision to release the withheld allocation raises serious moral intentions and questions of what is happening in Rivers State. The Labour Party chieftain further argued that disregarding the rule of law, separation of powers, and judicial decisions threatens the country's survival and undermines the future of Nigeria's fragile democracy. Former National Vice Chairman Northwest of the All Progressives Congress APC, Salihu Lukman, has stated that negotiations to form a coalition is ongoing and has not reached its final stage. Speaking via a statement today, Lukman dismissed speculations that disagreements were hindering the coalition negotiation. He noted that the consensus among leaders is that the final decision about processes of candidate selection can only be handled and determined when there is an agreement on issues such as getting leaders to work together and the political party that would be the platform to contest the 2027 election are being considered. In a recent development, 12 inmates have escaped in a jailbreak in the early hours of today in Kogi State. The Kogi State government confirmed this in a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Kingsley Femi Fanwo. He recommended the swift response of security agencies to the jailbreak at the Federal Correctional Center in Cotton Cafe, where 12 inmates escaped. He also praised the swift response of security agencies and described the escape as unfortunate, assuring citizens that the state government is taking decisive steps to prevent a recurrence. According to him, the Kogi State government has vowed to work with security agencies to uncover the circumstances surrounding the incident. He added that Governor Ahmed Ododo has directed the state security advisor to collaborate with the Federal Correctional Center and other security agencies to ensure such security breaches do not happen again. While investigations continue, the government has assured residents that the situation is under control. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break and return with the news analysis segment. To stay tuned.
Hello.
Thank you for staying tuned. You're still listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Now joining me to discuss issues on the news, I have Mr. Awa Omiko of the Sunday Editorial Desk. He's a veteran journalist as well as a political, social and national affairs analyst. Good afternoon and thank you for joining me on the World News at 12.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much. There's many issues in the news we could be discussing today, from the emergency rule in Rivers State to the opposition coalition and to SERAP and other CSOs, and also the PDP Governors Forum dragging President Tinubu to court over the emergency rule in Rivers State. But I want to begin with what Obi is saying about President Tinubu in conjunction with Wike and others brazenly disobeying the Supreme Court and colluding with the CBN on Rivers allocations. Obi is saying the Supreme Court had ordered that before the funds will be released by the CBN to Rivers State, there must be a representation of budget by the governor to the State House of Assembly. The State House of Assembly and the governor and his deputy have all now been suspended and the funds released to the sole administrator. He is asking, is this not for looting's sake? What's your assessment of the situation?
You see, the whole web is connected to illegality. The whole web. Now, the administrator, is he elected by the people? The answer remains no. Then why hand over the budget to him? The person, I agree that Fabura did some wants to be stubborn, just as a result of as a result of the rules of Godfatherism. But the Supreme Court has ruled, and in fact, I think it is an illegality on its own, because this shouldn't be. If they want the sole administrator to work, you may ask, if the money is not handed over to the state administrator, with what is it going to work? Let this government create a withdrawal from the SS account and give him something to start doing for the past 6 months, for the next 6 months. And once that comes, the money will be withdrawn from the total budget of River State. Now, when you are going to hand over this money to the sole administrator, on what is he going to work on? Was he the one that drew the budget? Does he know the areas, the governors, and all those that did the budgeting would be spending money on? And will he now give it to his civil servants that will now implement the budget, and they will do it to their own detriment? If you look at all the whole setup, you discover that it's just a craft. It's a craft to nail the main man and to remove him from the point of conventure. In fact, that money should be suspended until the state of emergency is over.
But who is going to suspend it?
To River State, because that money is meant for the people of River State and not for any sole administrator to come and start saying he's managing. What is he going to manage? In fact, it's already an illegal administration because he was appointed sole administrator when the National Assembly did not approve that. Despite the fact that they later approved it, which is just an after effect. But where we had the National Assembly, when Mr. Tinubu, Mr. President declared River State a state assembly, everything just operating on illegality. And until we begin to fight this illegality, Nigeria will never move forward. And I keep on saying it, that Nigeria is not practicing a democracy. What we are only practicing is democracy on paper, but we are really, in the real sense of it, practicing a unitary system of government. Who shouldn't be? Who shouldn't be at all? This is a power tussle, and this man, Mr. President, is trying to assert his power, forgetting that this similar thing was done to Lagos State. What did he say? As a governor, he was against it. And he cried louder than any other person. And what he rejected in those days is what he's trying to implement. Is it fair? Is that how governance should be? Is that how things should happen? The issue is no. That system is a system of illegality. And until the right thing is done, that money shouldn't be released.
So the PDP Governors Forum and also the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, have both sued President Tinubu to court over what they have called the illegal declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. Also, the Joint National Council, INC, says they are meeting together to decide on the options for self-determination as they feel slighted by the president's decision. While we're talking about this, there also seems to be palpable tension as some Niger Delta militants are meeting and they may be plotting a massive attack. This is after several explosions has rocked different pipelines in Rivers State. How can you weigh in on the way that what some people have called unfairness on the part of federal government to certain ethnic nationalities may be pushing the decision for self-determination amongst different people, and also these militant attacks that may be coming? The people of Rivers State, how can they continue to live under such conditions?
You see, it has not got to the level of trying to declare maybe one's own state or one's own country. No, far be it. Far be it from it. But the issue remains that leaders of thought in that state and in Nigeria as a whole should come together.
But can you blame them for considering that? Yes, can you blame the Joint National Council for considering such a move?
Yes, they should come together and mingle and discuss and have a think tank group to have a lasting solution on that issue. Besides, if Mr. Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency, according to me and by my own thinking, I feel is one-sided. Wike himself should have lost his ministerial appointment because he was one of the architects of the mishaps we have in Rivers State. if Samura should be removed, Wike himself too should be removed because it's not showing a state of, it's not playing the role of statesmanship. He intentionally making River State unworkable. And the federal government seems to be backing him up. And which goes to say that whatever thing is happening in that state has the underhand of APC, which is the calculation of the people there. And that is why people are now thinking of having a move of forming their own country. And in that state, if nothing is done to correct that illegality created by Mr. President, it will further aggravate the crisis there. That the state of emergency has solved nothing. It will further aggravate it. And mind you, these are people already offended, and the governance for the past 15 to 18 years has been at a standstill. So it's more or less making the place much more acidic to handle.
Mr. Miko, as much as you're seeing the underhand or low-key workings of the APC in all of this, does that include the 3 different pipeline explosions that have occurred in Rivers State in less than a week? Or are we seeing a resurgence of militant activities?
Actions and reactions are equal and proportional. That is a law of movement, isn't that? Actions and reactions. When the people know that the government in the center is not protecting their interests, but is using a proxy to attract, to destroy the state, what do you think they will do? They will say for this reason, let us keep on destroying it. And mind you, if you watch the words of Mr. President, he said to protect the people and to protect the economic interest of Nigeria. What are you there to do? You have declared state of emergency because of the economic interest. Nigerian economy is not moving. And when you allow, if you do nothing in Rivers State, it will further demeaning the Nigerian economy. You don't say, okay, let's go declare state of emergency so that we can take over and nothing and bring peace. Which peace are you bringing? Peace of the graveyard? That is exactly what it means. Peace of the graveyard. Because these people are telling you that no, we don't want state of emergency. Let there be a lasting peace. Wike cannot spring at Abuja and begin to cause peace and begin to cause trouble in Rivers State. And you still allow
it's not just in Rivers State, right? One could say in the PDP as well. Recall how he worked against PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar in 2023, and he still hasn't been expelled from the party. Recall that recently he also revoked the party's CFO of its land secretariat located in Abuja. They called an emergency meeting over that. He still hasn't been expelled from the party, right? There is also, I don't know if you've seen that video of Wike saying anyone who tries to wade into the crisis, into what's happening in Rivers State, I will put fire in your state, whether you are from Bauchi or wherever. He's saying I'll put fire in your state and I will cause a political crisis in your state. Is Wike bigger than the people who make up the states where he's threatening to put fire, these PDP states?
That is the question. Is Wike bigger than Nigeria? And yet you are there causing wahala in Rivers State, and you say you allow him to still remain as a minister. For what reasons? Which means all the troublemaker is doing, the Mr. President and APC government are aware of it. Forgetting that they are in different parties. Let's forget that. They are aware in it. And who gets the glory? Who is going to harness from this misemo of the minister? And who at whose expense is the federal government working for or working to appease? At the end of the day, the people the federal government claim to be protecting are the people they are killing. And everything amounts to what? Economic interest. What this economic interest is, and that is why the common people, the militia of Rivers State are saying, because of this our oil that we have come to trouble us, it is better we destroy the pipeline. Do you see that? It is a reaction. So
you are agreeing that we might see a resurgence of militant activities.
actions and reactions are equal and proportional. That is the theory that is operational there, and that is why Mr. President should have a second thought about the state of emergency declared in that state. Rivers State is not like any other state. Rivers State is a state. It is a state where you have to handle the issues there with care, because of the economic interest in that state. How can a home minister come out to say anybody that mingles? Who is he?
You know, while we're talking about all of this, Mr. Awamiko, there are certain way many Nigerians feel that judicial interpretation actually lent greatly to the lingering of that crisis in Rivers State between Wike and Fubara. If you recall, there were so many court cases with so many judgments being given, being set aside, so many different interpretations, right? Until that case got to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court says the state allocations will not be released until the budget is represented. Would you say, like, the NBA and many opposition figures, even supporters of this administration, have agreed that the Constitution has been misinterpreted? That's Section 305 of the Constitution that grants the president the powers to actually declare a state of emergency, which many legal luminaries have said does not extend to actually suspending the governor, his deputy, and the legally constituted State House of Assembly. Are the people interpreting the laws and Constitution better than the Supreme Court? Because remember the Abuja situation after the elections in 2023? And a lot of other conflicting judgments.
Yes. Now, hello.
I'm with you, Mr. Amiko.
Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Now, if you look at all the legal luminaries, what I've said, and hello.
Mr. Amiko, hello? I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Now, you should know that the Supreme Court, I owe anybody no apology. The Supreme Court is an appendage of the presidency. They just go there.
The Supreme Court is an appendage of the presidency?
Yes, I said that. And you look at all their rulings, and you look at Mr. President will only agree to the rulings of the Supreme Court that favors him. Any other judgment that the Supreme Court melted out that he is against the federal government, he will not apply it. So he's doing a selective justice. And in a democracy, you can't say things cannot work out when judgment is selective. You select the one that favors you and leave others. At who's the rail. And now let's go back again. How can you be operating? How do you want to introduce legitimacy in a situation of illegality? The government you put in place is an illegal government, and you're now trying to bring the theory of legitimacy into it. It will never work. It's like mixing oil and water, and you want to do it. They can never blend. And that is why the reaction is what we are seeing and witnessing in Rivers State. And that reaction is going to snowball into our economy in the next few months if care is not taken. And that is why before Mr. President should take any decision, in fact, all those that surround him, his think tanks should be held responsible for this misjudgment and misapplication of the rule of law. And I stand to be corrected. Anywhere the law does not permit him at this point and at this situation to declare a state of emergency without consulting the National Assembly. But in his own case, he has applied it before consulting. And the National Assembly, because they themselves has a lot of skeletons in their cupboards, and now said, yes, we abide by it. Abide by what? Illegality? No. Even if Fubara had offended and has not handled the state the way it should be, there are better ways of taking him out of government. There are better ways of doing that. Use the constitutional right, the constitutional way to take him out of government. Use the people. Use recall. You can use oppositions against him. Not going there to declare a state of emergency.
But one could say that the lawmakers were used against him. If you're looking at it in that way, that the lawmakers were used against him. If you're saying, oh, if you're not happy with Fubara and you want him out of there. But here also is another situation, Mr. Amiko. Governor Fubara has denied links with militants, and he's also warning against fake social media posts. Anytime anything linking him with militants. One cannot help but think, where is this kind of reports coming from? Is there an underhanded attempt to actually tarnish Governor Fubara's image and make sure that after these 6 months, he does not return to the seat of power as governor of Rivers State? Also, would you say Obi has a valid concern with the funds that have been released to the sole administrator, which can actually now be disbursed unchecked by any state legislature?
By any state legislature? What is that? Is that not a vague? Is that not a vague situation? By any state legislature, very, very vague. Now the issue remains that, let's go back to it. Fubara wants the state, because they've already removed him, they now want to hang him. It's like giving a dog a bad name to him. Give a dog a bad name and kill it.
So someone is spreading false information about Governor Fubara colluding with militants. Is that what you're saying? Or having links to militants?
He has no hand. I stand, yes. He has no hand. They are all the falsification as a result of the ganging up to paint him black and make people believe that he is as bad as that. That because they have removed him, he's not wanting to make the state ungovernable. It is false. If you call me, where is the role of Wike in this? Why will Wike by now should be cooling off in the prisons? How can a man said if you mingle with him, you're going to make a state ungovernable? I believe and stand to be corrected. If what is happening now in Rivers State, if Wike has no hand, Wike must surely have a hand in it to keep on putting Fubara in the bad light. Fubara is a greenhorn. He's a greenhorn, not grounded as Wike is. He's just coming into politics. And let me tell you, until that law, that rule, until that state, until peace returns to that state, Nigerian economy is going to suffer another dent.
Before 2027, do you expect that Wike will no longer be a member of the PDP before 2027? Because the party seems to be going back and forth, but they're not making any definite attempt to actually boot him out.
They see him as a King Kong. Nobody in the PDP there that can equal him. Is it Atiku? No way. They see him as a King Kong, as a game changer. He comes there, he decides. As a couple, he comes there in their midst and he decides. So because nobody can challenge him, and that is why he's just there. And besides, he is not a real member of PDP. He's looking for a party to cross to. You can see that by the time things settle, things normalizes, Wike will now move to any party he feels. If he decides to say, I want to still be for PDP, but I am telling you, the ground he's preparing to be Mr. President come whenever is the ground he is destroying. He should know himself that people are beginning to note him as not to be a good person. Because for him to make his home state ungovernable, is an anti-people, an anti-democratic, anti-democrat, an anti-progressive person. So what Wike should do, if I may advise the people there, let them come back home and reconcile. Let there be a reconciliation. Let all the think tanks take it outside outside politics. Bring the chiefs. Let them come home and reconcile. Though Fabra may have offended, but let that reconciliation be done. And let the agreement of the truth be seen to be applicable and working. If not, that state will keep on seeing more militia coming up and they keep on destroying it. This is our economic knife center, and Nigeria will bleed if Rivers State bleeds.
Mr. Miko, while we're talking about the role of the PDP, and also remember that Atiku Abubakar last week did announce during a press conference with other opposition figures to talk about the Rivers State emergency situation, to talk about a coalition. Other people in the coalition are coming out to review the negotiations are actually in the advanced stage. Wike remains a member of the PDP, at least as at this moment. No one knows what will happen before 2027, even as the coalition prepares. Do you think that people such as Wike and the parts that they can play can actually downplay the effect or the energy of that the coalition is bringing to phase out the APC by 2027?
Well, APC on its own is a party most people are not interested to listen to because of the economic system and the economic situation of the country, and because of their patriarch. So people seems to say anything APC is said should be said in the secret. Most people are not coming up to say APC is good government. But how be it, Nigeria being what we are, if APC changes tomorrow for good, you see people begin to shout about APC. If it changes for good. Because I have not seen the record where, going by our own history, where a new party performs better. I've not. Is it the coalition? Look at how APC came in, promising hope. And now that hope has been dashed. Some people are saying we would have preferred to remain in PDP. And some people are saying, well, if the third force, let's just call the new party coming up as the third force, if they be good enough, magnanimous enough to bring that change, which I doubt, because it's going to be the same set of people. Nigerian politicians are more or less political prostitutes. You see them carry umbrella today, tomorrow they are holding broom. And by next tomorrow, they are holding the hoe. What are they all fighting for? They are all hungry for power and wanting to retain their roots. So if the third force, which I don't see will even save the soul of this country, I don't see them saving the soul of the country, because all the third forces, all the politicians that make up that third force, we are still those from either PDP or APC. So what are they coming to do? Were they not there when the two parties were rotting and stealing the country dry? So how be it, if the likes of young guys, young vibrant guys should emerge and let us take away all these people that have been there recycling their ideas. Let's take them away. Let this new force be a force that will come up with young, vibrant people, the youth that knows what it takes to govern a country. We have a lot of them. Only that the big guns are not giving them the stage to operate. But if this can be, I believe the third force, the third positive force, not the third docile alignment force can change this country.
Mr. Amiko, just before you go, I want to quickly talk about the fact that petrol price may increase soon as the federal government has suspended the sale of crude oil to Dangote in Naira. The Naira for crude deal seem to have actually, would I say, dissolved, and Dangote Refinery is saying if they won't be sold to in the local currency, then they won't be buying at the moment. Also, there is a report that Nigeria recently, would I say, gave 300 trucks of PMS to Niger Republic because they were having a few crises, leading to the reduction of petrol prices for Niger. Isn't it ironical that we are helping one country reduce the petrol price while ours seems to be on the rise because of the collapse of the Naira for crude deal?
You see, we want to play the role of a big brother. We want to play the role of a big brother without first maintaining our house. And that has been the mistakes right from the time of our prime minister up to Shagari, up to Buhari, up to even now Mr. Tinubu is committing that same error. We don't play. You don't use economic issues. You don't play with our economic issues. If we really want to do subsidization, looking inward to actually encourage investment, the likes of Dangote should be encouraged. If you look at the oil we've given to Niger, which is a neighboring country, maybe we are giving them such oil so that there wouldn't be smuggling and there wouldn't be border crisis or whatever. If that same amount of oil is given to Dangote, don't you think the issue of unemployment will come down? Don't you think Naira rise will Naira, it can stabilize Naira? Don't you think the money Dangote will be using, the dollar he will be using to import crude oil elsewhere will come back to the country? All these things will. You see, we fail to support and defend and protect our own industry. It's the infant industry, the medium industry, and emerging bigger economies. We fail to protect them, and that is why after a time, the thing will collapse. I can say that from the action of Nigeria, we are working. The present government is working to close down that refinery, which wouldn't be good for us. It wouldn't be good for Africa and wouldn't be good for our economy. Dangote should be free to get this oil, neither a dollar equivalent of it. And mind you, if he gets his dollar equivalent of that naira, of that oil, because he's a businessman, he too will sell at that same price to maximize profit. People are in business to maximize profit. And if you keep on doing that, you keep on increasing the pump price of petroleum. Plus or minus, there is a cabal in the system. The leech in the system are sucking the economy dry. And because of this, they will never allow the likes of Dangote to operate. And that is just it. It's just the cabal in the system. They will never allow the likes of Dangote to flourish because they know if Dangote truly at its full-fledged comes to operation, the cost of pump price will drop and fuel will be reachable. Now, do you see what is happening as a result of energy fuel not being high? Small scale industries are folding up. Most people don't even operate. In some places, nothing happens because there is no power supply. Electricity is down. You can't use your generator, and people can't even travel for far. What is the cause? You can see the economy and level of robbery and level of minor crimes are beginning to come up. And I pray, and the only way to solve that is by making the industries to work again, so that the hungry boys in the streets will have food to eat.
Thank you so much.
If they want peace in the country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wamiko, for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. It's always a pleasure whenever we get to have these conversations. Thank you and have an amazing day. You have been listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that petrol price may increase as federal government suspends sale to Dangote Refinery. Fubara denies links with militants once against fake social media posts to be alleges Tinubu disobeying Supreme Court, colluding with CBN on Rivers allocations, and US-Russia talks on Ukraine begins in Saudi Arabia. That is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Chioma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM for coverage of your live event and brand news mentioned in our news bulletins. Do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.